Hello children, and welcome to the world of Wibberley Bear. Today's story is called The Fairy Ring. Wibberley Bear was in his garden one bright summer morning picking some flowers for Mummy. He stopped and looked at the lawn. Something was different. There, near the roses, was a ring of bright green grass which stood out from the rest of the lawn. It was about the size of Wibberley's hula hoop. What could it be? He took the flowers indoors and gave them to Mummy, and he asked her about what he had seen. "Why, it's a fairy ring," said Mummy. "It's where the fairies come to dance at night." "Do you think I could watch them?" said Wibberley. "Oh, I don't think so," said Mummy. "They are very shy, and they will not come out to dance if there are teddy bears around." That's a shame," said Wibberley. But the more he thought about it, the more he was determined to watch the fairies dance. That evening he told Mummy of his plan. He would put up his tent near the fairy ring and stay there all night until they came to dance. That night, as the moon came out, Wibberley lay in his tent watching the fairy ring. Time passed, but no fairies came, and after a while he fell asleep. "Did you see anything?" said Mummy, as Wibberley came into the house next morning for his breakfast. "No, Mummy, but I will try again tonight," he said. True to his word, Wibberley stayed in the tent on the next night, but this time he stayed awake even longer. But still he saw no fairies. He did the same the next night, but still nothing happened. When he came in for breakfast he was very disappointed. "Do you know, Mummy," he said, "I don't think fairies exist. I give up." "No, don't give up," said Mummy. "Why don't you try one more time?" Wibberley thought about it and decided he would give it one more try that night. But when night came, it was raining hard. "Oh dear," he thought, "this is not going to help at all. Even if there are fairies, and I don't really think there are, they would not want to come out to dance in the rain." Suddenly he had an idea. He rushed indoors and picked up Mummy's umbrella and took it into the garden. He put the umbrella up and stuck it in the middle of the fairy ring, so that however hard it rained, the grass would not get wet, and the fairies could still come out to dance. He also put a jar of honey and a bottle of lemonade inside the fairy ring. Well, if there are such things as fairies, they have no excuse not to come to the dance tonight. The umbrella will keep the rain away, and there is something to eat and drink. They should have a grand time, thought Wibberley. With that, he climbed into his tent and watched and waited and waited and waited. He woke up as the sun shone into his tent the next morning. It had stopped raining and the birds were singing. It was a lovely day. Wibberley looked out from the tent. The fairy ring had stayed dry under the umbrella. He looked closer. The honey jar was empty and the lemonade had gone. Just an empty jar and an empty bottle. And "What is this?" thought Wibberley. In the centre of the fairy ring was a tiny bottle with a tiny cork in the top. He picked it up and examined it. Inside was what looked like a fine golden dust. He picked up the bottle and took it into the house to show his Mummy. "Let me see," she said as she put on her glasses. "I think I know what it is. You are very lucky to have this, young bear." "Well, what is it?" said Wibberley, impatiently jumping up and down. "Look closely at the front of the bottle. There is something written," said Mummy. "Well, what does it say?" said Wibberley, getting more and more excited. "It says, 'Fairy dust,'" said Mummy. "Now do you believe in fairies?" "Well, what do you think?" Wibberley said.